Well, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to our celebration this afternoon, sponsored by Pima Community College and the Department of Ethnic, Gender, Transborder Studies, and Sociology. My name is Dr. Francisca James Hernandez. I'm head of the department and also faculty at Pima College in Anthropology, Mexican American Studies, and Gender and Women's Studies. I welcome you all. We're very excited to be doing this event this afternoon as a follow-up to our very successful summit that we had last month that was entitled Healing in the Times of Corona, Education, Migration, and Identity. This is the second year in a row that we have run a scholarship competition in conjunction with the summit. But because of the pandemic and the changes we had to make to the summit to make it virtual, we decided to make the events of celebrating the scholarship contestants and winners separate from the summit itself. So we're really happy to be able to follow up and have a separate celebration of our winning students and our visual art contestants, who you all are going to be voting on today in our poll. So that will come later on. All of you who registered for the event today should have about a couple of hours ago gotten an email from me with today's schedule of events. So if you want to see what we have planned for the day, please take a look at that. And I want to also give an acknowledgement for the land on which Pima Community College resides is on the historical traditional lands of the Tohono O'odham peoples, and also that we share our community and space and lands with the Pascua Yaqui people, and to keep our indigenous brothers and sisters in mind at all times, especially in these times. So with that, I'd like to introduce our Dean, Dean Michael Parker, who will be giving the welcome for our event today. Michael Parker is the Dean of Social Sciences and Humanities. So welcome, Michael.
Thank you, Francisca, and thank you everyone who's here today. Thank you for attending. Thank you for submitting. And we're joining all together today to celebrate your accomplishments and your success. And I'd also like to thank Francisca, who, as she mentioned just a few moments ago, called upon her resourcefulness here as she did when the pandemic hit and we needed to have the summit online, hold that virtually, found a way to keeping on. So thank you very much, Francisca. As part of the introduction, I have a few of our scholarship winners that I'd like to introduce. But before I introduce the individual scholarship winners, I would like to give you some indication of what their artwork, whether it's visual or literary, was responding to. So if I could see the PowerPoint that includes the prompt, I'd like to show that to you and read it. So Francisca or Mike, if you would place that, thank you. So this is the prompt that you all were responding to. Migrants and refugees are deeply woven into the history and contemporary experience of the United States and the world. Whether you have migrant roots or not, we all have different connections or relationships to migrants and refugees. These might be personal, familial, historical, communal, national, or international. Migrants and refugees form part of most communities, particularly in Tucson and Southwest borderlands. Our experience of migration, whether we ourselves are migrants or refugees or not, can lead us to reflect on our own identities, families, and communities as they relate to race, ethnicity, gender and sexuality, nation, neighborhood, barrio, reservation, culture, and history. Submit an original unpublished essay, 1,000 words, work of creative writing up to 2,500 words, or visual artwork reflecting on topics related to migration, refugees, the movement of people, and related themes. Identify how the migrant and/or refugee experience informs or influences your education, personal life or identity and or sense of community. Visual arts students all submitted a short statement about how their artwork related to the themes. And with that, I would like to introduce our first winner, and her name is, as we learned just moments before, pronounced Jaritza Lamadrid. And Jaritza, if you would unmute yourself and your video and tell all of the people in the audience what your year is, your semester in college, and what you're studying at PCC, please.
Okay, hello everyone. I am in my second year of college at Pina, and I am pursuing a career in nursing. I hope to move on to the nursing program here at Pina. Okay, can everyone see me?
Yes.
Okay, so yeah, do I go ahead and read my piece now, or was there another question?
Yep, go ahead.
Yeah, please.
Okay, so this piece is called I Saw an Alien. So I saw an alien during my stop at the gas station this morning. He was wearing some very worn out jeans covered in oil, paint, and dirt stains, and a couple tears here and there. He was buying himself an energy drink with whatever dollar bills he had in his pocket. I thought about how I've never liked energy drinks, but I'm sure that's what gets him through his long, rigorous shifts. I saw him again outside in the parking lot, hopping into his old work truck. I wondered where he worked. Construction, painter, agriculture. I had no idea, but I knew it was a job I wouldn't be caught doing without ruining my fresh manicure and new shoes. I saw an alien on my way to school. I stopped at a red light in my brand new car. He was sitting on the corner with little ceramic statues of cartoon characters, some bag of tamales, and boxes of fruit being sold from the bed of his truck. His little corner stand was dry with no customers, but for some reason he sat on his lawn chair, patient, with a calm smile on his face. It was 110 degrees outside. I saw an alien in class. She sat next to me, a dreamer. She was on her phone the entire lecture, which was very unlike her. She was a straight-A student. I wondered why she looked so anxious. It seemed as if she was waiting for a call. My professor let the class take a break. We all walked out of the room, and there she was. She finally received the call she seemed to be waiting for. I overheard closely. I don't think she knew I knew Spanish, but I also don't think she cared enough to pay attention. In Spanish, crying, she said, "Mom, my dreamers' rights are being taken away. We are under a new leader and new laws, and to my misfortune, neither benefited me. I've done nothing wrong and it is out of my control, yet I have to come home." When our break time was up, she walked back into class, took out her notebook, and continued working as if her calendar date to go home wasn't there. I sat there and thought of the conversation I had with this girl just 1 week ago. She was one semester away from moving on to a top-rated university on a full-ride scholarship to further pursue her dream as a doctor. I saw an alien's wife in line at the grocery store this evening. She stood behind me with her 2 children, neither above the age of 14, with typical ingredients for a carne asada in their basket. They were excited and talking about their celebration tonight. Their dad and her husband finally received his citizenship papers after 12 years of trial and error due to processing. She explained to them that they wouldn't have to worry about the possibility of them being separated from their children anymore, that even though she still didn't have papers, they will always have their father to fall back on here in the US, safe, secure, and allowed. I left the grocery store and reflected on my entire day. I thought about the first time I ever saw an alien. It was my grandfather. He was kind, genuine, and giving. He worked in the fields from before the sun came up till after the sun came down. He filed taxes every year, paid bills, and loved his family. Providing for them was always his centered focus in life. He and my grandmother decided to move to the United States and pursue the life and opportunities they knew Mexico could not offer them in the 70s. They moved to Douglas, Arizona, a border town, where they had 3 US citizen children. In Douglas, Border patrols swept the streets daily. My grandfather lived in fear every single day, and at times would go weeks without walking outside trying to avoid running into them. After 30 plus years of being an American, he passed away in 2007 as an alien. My grandma received her citizenship in just 2013, Because of their sacrifice, my mom and her brothers now hold successful jobs and are able to provide the best lives for themselves and their own families. Because of their sacrifice, my parents are now able to supply me with clothes on my back and a car to take me to school. Because of their sacrifice, I am able to walk into a gas station without the fear of being attacked. Because of their sacrifice, I am able to attend school and pursue my dream as a nurse, along with my siblings and my cousins. I come across aliens every day, but instead of them being tall and green, they look just like you and I, with hair, arms, and legs. Aside from physicality, just like you and I, they have dreams and aspirations, not only for themselves, but for their families. They value and desire safety, opportunity, and security just as much as us. So that's when I stopped seeing aliens and I started seeing people. And yes, that is my piece.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much, Charitza. Our next winner is in the visual arts category, but was not able to join us today, and that is Paola Rodriguez Gonzalez. However, Mike Rom, our support person, our indispensable support person, will be able to show a video of and a PowerPoint displaying the artwork. So Mike, if you would please.
Hi, I'm Paola Rodriguez Gonzalez, and for my submission, I used crayon and Bristol paper to depict the many generations of Mexican Americans here in Tucson as a colorful Sonoran sunset to show how Mexican immigrants make Tucson the diverse city that it is. I colored the mountains like the American and Mexican flags to show the dual identities of many Mexican immigrants after coming to the States. Being the daughter of 2 Mexican immigrants raised in the U.S., I felt it was important for my piece to represent how Mexican Americans have identities in 2 different cultures. In my own life, I've learned that Mexican families living in the United States have an American identity, a Mexican identity, and a fusion identity as Mexican Americans. These additional identities and senses of belonging are what make America amazing, because America was and always will be a nation of immigrants. I believe that the more open people are to experiencing different cultures, the more united we will be.
And though she's not here, we thank you, Paola, and thank you, Mike, for showing her PowerPoint and her artwork. And the final of our 3rd place winners is Amanda Morrison, and she is in our essay category. So Amanda, if you would, please introduce yourself and tell us what semester you're in and what you're studying.
Hi, my name's Amanda Morrison. I actually just finished my 1st semester at Pina. I'm currently studying business management, looking to possibly go into accounting later on. So if we're all set, I will be reading some selections from my essay titled Follow the Cobblestone Road. Picture a road paved with yellow bricks, uniform, consistent, each component alike, one to the next. It's a road that may seem visually appealing to some, easy to walk. We all know, however, that the glimmering utopia this path leads to is nothing more than a facade. Over time, those meticulously laid bricks will crumble. The more homogeneous a population, the more pressure there is to conform to the standards of the majority, and so any pronounced deviation becomes that much more disruptive. As we strive to move ever closer toward a sense of cultural unity, we might instead consider a path of cobblestone, colorful, cacophonous, each component different in size and shape, but strengthened by the very diversity intrinsic to its design. This road may still be perilous, edged with danger and distractions, yet by empowering others, we may find allies with strengths complementary to our own. Even knowing this, it can be hard to put our trust in novel sources. Most often, we take comfort in that which we recognize, which is certain and predictable. Even Dorothy, dazzled by the kaleidoscopic wonders of Oz, yearned to return to the simplicity of her Kansas home. We fear our neighbors and our world in proportion to our unfamiliarity with them, says Dan Everett in his piece Seek Out Strangers. He condemns complacency, stating that to truly learn, we must embrace the wisdom of strangers. It is only by sacrificing comfort and engaging in new endeavors that we can challenge our preconceptions. How then to overcome our reservations when facing the unknown? We have no good witch to point us in the right direction, but according to Emirate, the wisdom of strangers can be learned only when we submit ourselves to differences, seek them out, and celebrate the perimeters of human experience. We must accept that to be different does not mean to be wrong, and understand that our own lack of familiarity with a culture does not make it lesser. By acknowledging the validity of another person's experiences, however they may vary from our own, we can greatly enhance our potential for effective communication. Luckily for Dorothy, she merely had to place herself in another's shoes literally. To do so figuratively can be a much more complicated matter. In a U.S. national survey, it was found that those living in more diverse communities have a tendency to distrust their neighbors, regardless of the color of their skin, to expect the worst from their community and its leaders, to agitate for social reform more, but have less faith that they can actually make a difference. Robert Putnam, 2007. Maybe what needs to be asked, though, is why less diverse communities tend to be more engaged. When we recognize parts of ourselves in others, be that race, religion, social class, etc., we are more likely to infer that they share our same values and goals. An echo chamber type effect may result from overly homogeneous socialization, causing us to assume that our individual beliefs are more prevalent than they truly are. This could create an artificial bond between members of the community, which would nonetheless result in an increase of civic activity. It would seem that the members of more diverse communities value that diversity. They do, after all, agitate for social reform more, but perhaps have trouble engaging with their neighbors on a day-to-day basis. As society has worked to adopt a more ethnically tolerant outlook, some have utilized a colorblind approach, insisting that heritage be disregarded entirely in favor of addressing qualities of the individual. The problem herein is that we function in a technicolor world, and ignoring the rich spectrum around us does not make it disappear. Turning a blind eye to cultural distinctions gives us no incentive to learn about them, and so we're unprepared for instances where they become a necessary part of the social dialogue. Thus, the importance of social education. By teaching children from a young age that diverse cultures exist in a meaningful way, that they can be appreciated and celebrated while still being distinct from one's own, we can replace hesitance with curiosity. The suspicious other can be reshaped into a dynamic compendium of narratives, a cast of characters with individual personalities, ever-changing as new histories are uncovered. Such education, of course, does not have to be limited to children. Despite the supposed intractability of adult preconceptions, it is quite possible for an old dog to learn new tricks when given the right encouragement. The route before us is far from clear. For every new consensus reached, a dozen new obstacles may present themselves, a dozen new objections may be raised. There will be those who don't wish us to follow the path at all, yearning for society to return to a rose-tinted version of our past that never truly existed. But, like the young girl trying to find her way home, it's obvious that the only way is forward. We may stumble, we may occasionally lose sight of our objective or fall victim to misleading distractions, but the road is laid out, loose stones mingling, settling together, and becoming ever stronger as they do so. As we choose to persist on this journey, every step will make it just that little bit easier for those who will follow. Bumps worn smooth, obstacles diverted, and each stone of every color, shape, composition, and origin becoming a deeper part of a unified whole.
Thank you, Amanda. And thank you once again, Taritza, Paola, and Amanda, and everybody. I don't know how you would do this exactly, but please give them a warm round of applause for their excellent artwork, whether, again, visual or literary. Okay, so next, I am going to introduce to you Yolanda Gonzalez, who is the program coordinator of the Immigrant and Refugee Student Center, and Teresa Perez, who is a student ambassador for the same unit. So Yolanda and Teresa, I hand the floor to you.
Thank you. So my name is Teresa Perez. I'm a student ambassador for the Immigrant and Refugee Student Resource Center. And really quickly, our mission statement for the IRSRC is to partner with the college and the community to gather resources to bridge the information gap and empower immigrant and refugee students to achieve their educational dreams. Personally, I joined the office because I'm the daughter and granddaughter of Mexican immigrants, and I felt moved to start giving back to the community, which gave so much to me. We have virtual office hours, and you can contact us at pcc-irsrc at pima.edu, or you can call us at 520-206-7312. And now I'll be handing it off to Yolanda to introduce the second place winners.
Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for being here with us today. Today, I'm going to announce the second place winners for our creative writing submissions. I'm going to start with Sarah Marshall. She is unable to attend today's event, but I'm going to go ahead and read her creative writing submission. And then after that, we'll move into our other two finalists. So I'll start by reading Sarah Marshall's submission. Naiwali na hala. The words felt warm on my tongue. I eagerly pounded out the emotions of the chant, striking the ground with my kalu sticks. I glanced at Kaiki, who was seated beside me. I noticed almost as if for the first time the darkness of her eyes, like roasted Kona coffee. Her skin was a delicate shade of mocha, and her espresso hair fell in long ringlets down her back. As she held the kalu sticks, Kaiki was a collage of earthly beauty, Hawaii's finest offerings. I glanced back at my own reflection in the mirror, bewildered at the straight hair and light eyes, noticing for the first time how my fair skin clashed with the color of the koa wood. I had never realized that we looked different. My grandfather was half Hawaiian, and from my earliest memories, I was passed around the circle of his siblings and cuddled by Kona coffee colored arms. It was the color of home. In his teens, he came into the wealth of a half brother and sister who were German, Italian, and Polish, and he married a Swedish woman. Our family potlucks involved egg rolls, cola pork, mountains of rice, pickled okra, cucumber salad, and layered jello concoctions. With my childhood was spent with kimchi squid and mac salad in one hand and pickled onions and smashed potatoes in the other. The diversity of my family was a fact, and one I had never been bewildered by until now. When I climbed into my grandfather's lap, it must have looked like coffee swallowing cream. I looked just like his wife, my grandmother, with green eyes and golden hair and blonde lashes that shone translucent in sunlight. I was very part of the seed, but I didn't feel like one. I loved to pull on the rich fabric of my hula skirt and pound out the rhythm of my feet with the chant, feeling centuries of tradition course through me. I began to stand in front of the mirror and pray that my hair would turn brown, just a shade darker. I prayed that my face, so stubbornly Swedish, would finally begin to tan the way my arms and legs did, just a shade darker, and I would finally look like I was actually related to my little brother, who came out of the womb a carbon copy of my grandfather. The older he gets, the more I glaze at early pictures of my grandfather and fail to see a difference. It's funny how genes work. We come from the same bloodline, our eyebrows arched and our noses shaped by the same tradition, but our hair, skin, and eyes couldn't look more different. Just a shade darker, and I would get my sideways looks when I walked into the hallway. I could pull on that skirt with its rich folds of brightly colored fabric and finally feel as though I had a right to be there. 11 years after that period of fervent hoping, I sat in a dark room with dear friends on either side of me, watching a tale of culture unfold before us. The movie was Whale Rider, and it centered on a Maori girl who was very different from, but extremely connected to her grandfather. My ears perked up. I drank in every syllable of chant, every dark-eyed glance and tall, stocky man whose silhouette mirrored my grandfather's. When the girls brought out their poor balls and at the end, I inhaled sharply with delight. Though Maori and Hawaiian cultures are different from each other in myriad and multifaceted ways, they share a stream of Polynesian tradition. As the credits rolled, I felt a world of lost memories swirling around me, hula skirts and tightly braids, and the smell of hula pork. How could I have forgotten? As I sat with my post-movie shaved eyes, I contemplated this reclaimed piece of my identity. I had always known that I was Hawaiian. That was a fact. But it had been a long time since I had felt Hawaiian. I looked at the shame of my paled hands. Was it because of this that I had ceased to feel that I belonged to my own culture? Just a shade darker, but the blood in my veins has no shade. The passion I have for my culture carries no color. For after all, what is culture but traditions passed from a native grandfather to a little cream girl who sits in his lap? That was by Sarah Marshall. I'm going to move into our next finalist. And let me get that for you. But it was my honor and privilege of reading her script. It was very beautiful. Let me just find it right there. So next we have our next winner, second place winner for creative writing is Isabel Orozco. It is my pleasure to introduce her. Isabel, can you please unmute your video and yourself?
Hello.
Hello, Isabel.
Hello.
Do you want to go ahead and share your artwork?
Yeah, it's actually visual arts, not creative writing.
Right.
So I'll just go ahead and read the statement I submitted for this painting. The mediums I enjoy using are oil paint, ink, and charcoal. Most of what I have learned has been through Pima's art classes and its great instructors. This painting, titled Given, is in reference to the story of Eve in the Garden of Eden from the book of Genesis. Filled with shame, she does end up hiding from her creator, God. This story was one of the first I heard growing up. These kinds of tales are made to keep us from sinning. However, as I got older, I realized circumstances are not always black and white. My parents came to this country from Mexico years before I was born to give me the opportunity to live a better life. I will always be grateful to them because I would not have made it this far without their support. Thank you.
Thank you, Isabel. That's a
Yes.
beautiful work. I have a question for you. I'm going to
Sure.
sneak in a question here. Is that a autorretrato? Is that a self-portrait?
Yes, it is. That is me in the painting. I took the picture myself too.
It's beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so
Yeah.
much, Francisca. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much. That is a beautiful painting. Thank you. And I apologize. It is for the visual arts. And Isabel Arrozco was our second place winner. Thank you so much for your contribution. It is very beautiful.
Of course. Thank you all so much.
Next, we have second.
You can unshare your picture.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Okay. Next, we have our second place winner for essay, and it is Christopher Keith Reinhardt. Christopher, go ahead. Oh, hi, Christopher.
Hello.
Go ahead. I'm going to unmute myself here.
Okay. So my name is Christopher Reinhardt. I'm in my third semester at Pina studying pre-engineering. We'll be transferring to Arizona State's engineering program for electrical engineering. And this is an essay that's pretty much how I got to this point. It's titled Immigration and a White Male from the Midwest. Centuries of immigration have caused ripples throughout our history and have affected every American. Whether by land or sea, most come from immigrants who came here seeking opportunities that only America could afford them. The truth is, being a white male who grew up in Ohio, immigration was not something I thought about often, nor did it shape my upbringing. That changed when I came to Tucson, Arizona and met my wife, Marina. Marina, being Hispanic, grew up very differently, and over the last 15 years, I've had the privilege to learn about her culture and her family's Mexican-American experience. The ripple effect that started roughly 80 years ago with a migration and helped shape me into the man I am today began with her grandfather, Juan Montalongo. The lessons of hard work and determination that have been passed down from his father to my father-in-law and now instilled in me is one of the greatest gifts I have ever been given and has changed my life dramatically. It is hard for me to imagine packing up my family of 5 and moving to another country for the promise of opportunity. It is even more difficult to imagine when that opportunity comes with immense challenges like learning a new language, navigating new cultural norms, and facing discrimination. When my wife's grandfather was 15 years old, he came to the United States to live. Not far from Mexico, actually just right on the other side of the border in Douglas, Arizona, but it may as well have been the other side of the world. Juan had a middle school education, but he did not let that stop him. He went to Chicago and attended an electronics school, welding school, and learned refrigeration. When he came back to Douglas, Arizona, he worked for Phelps Dodge Mine. Juan tried to enlist in the military during World War II, but was deemed essential to the mine. Even after becoming paralyzed on the right side of his body after brain surgery to remove a brain tumor, he still did not let that stop him. He taught my father-in-law many skills that he had acquired and passed on the hard work and perseverance that was part of his upbringing. Juan's son, Julian Montalongo, my father-in-law, began working at the age of 10 to help support the family. After Juan's brain surgery left him paralyzed, it was hard for him to maintain a steady income. By working various jobs such as landscaping, handyman repairs, and working in fields for a few dollars a day, Julian was able to help support his family of 6. After high school, he enlisted in the Navy and served in the Vietnam War. Upon returning, he joined the Union and became an iron worker for the next 32 years. As if that wasn't enough, he spent the last 21 years every weekend building a 10,000-acre cattle ranch. He worked 17-hour days to support his family and took the time to educate himself. The lessons that had been passed down from father to son of what can happen with hard work and education turned him into a man who has accomplished many things, even though he started off with very little. At this point in the essay, I'm sure you are wondering what the many accomplishments of these two men have to do with a white male from the Midwest. Being part of a Mexican family for the last 15 years has changed me for the better. The family unity, support, and values have tremendously impacted my experience and worldview. Unknowingly, I had a certain level of entitlement. I felt I was owed things that I had not earned or deserved. I barely graduated high school 20 years ago and embarrassingly took for granted many opportunities and luxuries that were handed to me. Not to say that is because of where I grew up, but I lacked a sense of humility and appreciation that comes from overcoming adversity with perseverance and hard work. Today at 37 years old, with 3 kids and a business, I am fully embracing the advice of the man I have grown to respect more than any other. My father-in-law has been telling me for a long time how important education and determination is. If Julian's grandfather had quit when things got hard, I would not be the man I am today. I could have never imagined that I would be working on attaining a degree in electrical engineering, but here I am. My children watching me receive a degree and the chance to pass on the cultivated values of their grandfather is my driving motivation. Anytime someone shares a negative opinion on immigration or tries to say immigrants are not real Americans, I think of these men who are more American than most could ever hope to be. The strength and determination of immigrants is something the United States could use more of. This family is what it means to be American and what this country fundamentally stands for. Who could have ever imagined that a migration that happened over 80 years ago would have such a dramatic effect on a white male from Ohio? Thank you.
Christopher, thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Christopher. Thank you for sharing your experience. And we wanna let all the students know that we're very proud of them and that we value all of their work, their hard work, and we're here to support you in any way we can. Thank you for the beautiful visual arts piece and the essay, the creative writing. Now I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Dr. Francisca James Hernandez, who will take the floor.
Yolanda, before you do, are you sure you don't want to take like a minute or two to just expand on your center a little bit and let people know, especially since it's so relevant to the themes of our summit and the scholarship contest?
Sure. So I, as Teresa mentioned, our center is focused on helping pretty much any student, but we're really there to help immigrant and refugees. Right now, we just brought on board 6 student ambassadors who will be helping with the work that we're doing. We are going to start we're going to start a campaign, I guess I would call it, in reaching out to high school students. Right now, we're working together to start a programming for fall. But as Teresa mentioned, we are having virtual hours. So we're meeting with students right now. A lot of the students that we're seeing are just graduated and are interested in pursuing their degree. So we're helping with that. We are just, we want to provide a space for students to feel welcome. Pina Community College is a place where, you know, we are embrace all of diversity, and we want our students to be safe, to feel safe and welcome. So that is what the center is there for. You know, with this pandemic, we've been working virtually. We'll continue to work virtually, but you know, we're there to help. We help students find scholarships. A lot of times our students it's overwhelming because there's a lot of information. So we can offer one-on-one appointments So please feel free to reach out to us. We're here to help. We care about you. We wanna be part of your educational journey. So, please contact us. Thank you, Francisca.
Thank you so much, Yolanda. Thank you for being here today and for all the work that you do for the students and for the college. And you might feel free to put in the chat for the attendees. I know Teresa announced earlier your email address and your phone number, so feel free to put that in the chat and people can connect with you in that way if you feel like doing that. So thank you to all of our student winners up to this point. I mean, some amazing artwork and beautiful creative writing and essays in the 3rd place and 2nd place categories. And I will be introducing the students in the 1st place categories. And after that, we'll have our People's Choice Award vote. But before that, I just wanted to take a minute to talk to you all about our program, our Department of Ethnic, Gender, and Transborder Studies, Sociology. It is one of the newest, if not the newest department at the college, established in July of 2017. We just finished our 3rd year. And I think we've had some amazing accomplishments in those 3 years in terms of supporting students and supporting our community. So I just wanted to share with you some of that work for a moment as I put up my screen share. Let me get to this, and I'm sharing with you, let's see, I think Yolanda, you still have your video up. If you could mute that, because I can't access it anymore. But this was the cover of our program for our most recent summit that we had, and that our scholarship contest is in association with the Healing Community in Corona Times Education, Migration, and Identity. As a department, we host or house various different disciplines: American Indian Studies, Mexican American Studies. Those are our 2 ethnic studies disciplines right now, along with Gender and Women's Studies, global transborder studies, as well as sociology. And we're really excited because we have an initiative right now in African American Studies that we will be, that we're working on right now, and that we'll be launching in the fall of 2021 with 2 courses that we have a consultant, Dr. Treya Allen, is designing for us and working on for us, and that we're very excited to be working with from the University of Arizona. So what is ethnic, gender, and transborder studies? Well, we offer an array of interdisciplinary courses in the disciplines I just reviewed that center on the histories, cultures, socioeconomics, politics, and identities of people of color and people of multiple genders and sexualities on their or our own terms. And these courses explore the stories, social movements, diasporas, achievements, and struggles of historically marginalized peoples in the United States, while attending to regional and global experiences and perspectives. These areas of study encourage students to critically evaluate the social construction of ethnicity, race, class, gender, sexuality, nationality, and many other things, and the intersections among them in order to better understand themselves and their society and to make enlightened choices. EGTS, and the 2nd S is for sociology, prepares students to become agents of change in their families, communities, and institutions locally and globally on behalf of a democratic and socially just society. And what more do we need than the events of this past week and even months to know the importance of preparing our community and our students for how to be effective and productive agents of change for democracy and for social justice. So I will be emailing to all our folks that registered and participated today this flyer. That's our department flyer that announces our program and our scholarship. Every semester we have a scholarship, a small scholarship of $250 that we offer for students to apply for. And that is going to open any day now for folks to apply for. And students just need 6 units in any of the disciplines that I mentioned to you earlier in order to be eligible to apply. And this flyer also lists the courses that we'll be offering in the fall in American Indian Studies, Gender Women Studies, Mexican American Studies, and Sociology. Our Global Studies course will be in the spring. And I just wanted to introduce you to our faculty. Tiffany Emirate Young, who was just hired this year, just finished her first year in sociology and did a fabulous job. We're so excited to have her join our faculty. Marcos Trujillo, who is our first faculty at Pima in Gender and Women's Studies, as well as split with sociology and is the discipline coordinator in sociology. Dr. Sherry Stewart is faculty in American Indian Studies and our discipline coordinator there. And then of course we have Lynn Redpath, who's our program advisor. And we are also currently undergoing a search and hire for a new faculty position, a provisional position that will be split in American Indian Studies and Mexican American Studies starting this coming fall. And that will be a first for Pima to have a faculty member in Mexican American Studies, and that will be combined with AIS in order to focus on those 2 ethnic studies disciplines. So we're very excited about that. We don't have an announcement yet, but we expect to fairly soon, and are really looking forward to working with that new person. And of course, rounding out our team is Dr. Michael Parker, our dean. Sorry to keep moving things forward. Our dean who opened up our proceedings today. And to let you know, I myself as department head and faculty, I'll be going on sabbatical for next year. So Marcos Trujillo will be the interim department head next year. And Tiffany will be taking over the sociology discipline coordinatorship. So I encourage you all, folks in the audience and students, to connect with these faculty, to take courses. Now more than ever is important to learn about our world and about the issues that ethnic studies, gender and women's studies deals with, because they affect our everyday lives, and any occupation or career that we might prepare for. It helps us to understand the issues that we're going through today, as far as whether it's the pandemic and the effects of that pandemic, the health disparities we've been reading about, to the uprisings in the streets, the protests, and the resistance to racial inequality and police brutality. And how do we form a more perfect union? How do we form a society that is more just and more democratic? These are really at the essence and at the heart of what is ethnic studies and gender and women's studies, sociology, and what our department is about. So I invite all of you to come take classes with us and learn more about what we do. So with that, I'd like to move into our next section of celebrating our first place winners in creative writing, visual arts, and essay writing. So I need to bring up the names here. And our first student will be Alicia Garcia, who won first place in creative writing. Alicia, will you join us, please?
Hello. Hi, everyone. My name is Alicia Garcia, and I'm in my 3rd semester at Pima. I'm working towards an associate's in liberal arts with a focus in the ethnic, gender, and transborder studies and sociology department. I'm going to be reading from the end of my submission today, because it's kind of long. I just want to say thank you so much for this honor and for seeing the value in my words and my story. I share this story to humanize my dad and our family, something that feels so strange for me to have to do, but I do have to do it because society has criminalized him. And as a society, we don't see those who are criminalized as worthy. So many people are held in cages, removed from their homes, families, and lives for arbitrary reasons, for arbitrary lines in the dirt, stolen dirt on stolen land, and we have the nerve to call it justice. To err is human. To be pushed into a gray area out of extenuating circumstances and trauma is human. To seek safety and stability is human. But undocumented people cannot err, cannot draw attention, have to be on their guard, and don't have the luxury or resources to take care of their mental health. This extends to their loved ones too. When we first moved to Tucson and had to deal with increased Border Patrol presence and checkpoints, we began to have my dad practice the phrase, "I'm an American citizen." His thick Isla Chicano accent, and with Spanish being his dominant language, we laughed together about how silly this phrase sounded because he was trying to sound white. This is a bittersweet memory, one where we asked my father to abandon his roots, to contort himself into a more palatable and unsuspicious version of what it means to be American. But you're never really American if you're brown, right? You're always from some other place, conveniently forgotten in the American history books, always other and never the standard. Even though the first people of this land look exactly like my father. This is not a story of a good or a bad undocumented person. This is the story of my father's life, which includes his criminalization and his mistakes. My father's life was always one of survival and uncertainty, but the way he walked through it with dignity and pride is a testament to his strong and powerful spirit. Let us build a moratorium to the good immigrant versus bad immigrant mentality and all versions of this concept across criminalization, so that the stories and voices in our communities can finally be heard and considered in full. Right now is a pivotal moment in our history, and again the dichotomy of good versus bad is being utilized to criminalize a movement and a people. Black people are rising up after severe trauma and violence, as they have continually done since they were forcefully brought here and enslaved. I urge everyone listening who is not Black to look inward, to begin an anti-racist work within yourself, to listen to what Black people are rightfully demanding, and to get involved. Speak to your family, your friends, your followers, and support this revolution. Also pay reparations. For example, locally, there is the Second Chance Bail Fund or Tucson reparations, but there are many ways to pay reparations. Some people are upset by some of the revolutionary tactics being utilized. Know that some of this is sensationalized. Some of this is being done at the expense of this movement, and the rest is necessary labor that you do not get to have an opinion on. Property can be replaced, human life cannot. Black lives matter. Thank you.
Fabulous. Thank you. Thank you, Alicia. That was beautiful. So I'm going to introduce our next first place winner in the visual arts, Luis Medina. Luis, would you please join us?
Hi, everybody.
Hi, Luis.
Let's see. So this is my, did I do that? Why isn't it doing that?
It's okay, take your time.
Right, hold on. I think,
I can see your desktop now.
Yeah, you need to click on the picture when you open up the screen, the share screen, and
This
then
one?
find the picture and then click on that so that it opens the picture only.
No, wait, it's right here.
I'll go ahead and share it if you want.
All right, yeah, that worked better. Thank you.
Okay.
Sorry about that, guys.
No worries.
Um,
That's fine. No worries, Luis.
Oh, you got to turn your screen share off.
Turn it off.
Yours is
Stop.
still on. Wait a
Oh,
second.
my. Oh,
Or is mine on?
like that.
Stop sharing. Okay.
Awesome. So.
Yeah, your screen share is still on.
Oh, how? That,
The image was up, but now it's gone. There it is. I think,
Okay.
all right. Does that work? All right.
wait, can you click the green button in the upper left corner? Oh,
That work?
no, that went away. Can you bring it back again, Luis? Okay, so we can see the image, but your something weird is happening with your audio. No, your audio is going really, we can't hear you. Maybe stop your screen share and we'll have Mike show your image. And maybe that will help your audio.
Can you hear me?
Yep, we can hear you now.
Is that better?
That is better. Okay,
right.
and we can see your image.
Awesome. Okay.
Yay.
Now,
Go ahead.
all right. So my name is Luis Medina, and I'm about to read the submission I turned in for my photo, for my visual arts. So the subject of migration has influenced how I pursue my education, in particular, my project for photography class. The subject also made me reflect on my experience as a gay Mexican American man. One of my photography projects was focused on my childhood growing up in both Tucson, Arizona, in the United States, and Nogales, Sonora, Mexico. I visited childhood homes and places I remembered in both communities. The photograph I am presenting is a group of children surrounding the water fountain in Nogales, Sonora. It reminded me of a unique childhood and the differences between access to clean water in two different countries. The surrounding children in the photograph remind me of the less fortunate children that get caught in migrant issues and who do not see what life outside their country is like. Kids who didn't have the same opportunities as I did. As I reflect on my time living in both places, I realized that I didn't understand what the border meant, how it separated my identity as a Mexican and as an American. As I grew up, I traveled back and forth from Tucson and Nogales and stayed for different periods of time in both communities, as I had family on both sides of the border. This forced me to adapt and code switch between two different cultures and their style of living. As a gay man, I learned both cultures and communities have expectations, understanding, and bigotry. I also learned about the special privileges each identity gave me. In the United States, I had access to clean water and hot water, whereas in Mexico, I had to boil water and both for cleaning and warm showers. The picture of the kids reminds me of a sense of community. They all have their hands in the water fountain and it appears they are playing. Though it was challenging to grow up in two different cultures, it made me more interested to explore even more cultures outside of the region that I grew up in. And that's it. Thank you, guys.
Luis, thank you so much. That was a beautiful work and a beautiful statement. Thank you for being a part of this. Okay, and so we have one more first place winner in the essay category, Janet Cinto. Janet had a family emergency this morning and let us know that she couldn't make it, but we will have a reading of her essay by Teresa Perez, who will come back and join us to read Janet's essay.
Okay, so I'll be reading for Janet, and she is a current student at Pina Community College. And again, she's the first place winner for the essay portion. So, I have always been taught that being a citizen of the United States of America is a privilege that comes with unlimited possibilities and opportunities to make a great life for myself. I have learned this lesson from many of my family members, but the one that has truly embraced what it means to be an American in this great country is my grandmother, or as I call her, Nana. She is an amazing woman, and her story never ceases to amaze me. She grew up in a small town in Sinaloa, Mexico, and she had many kids at a relatively young age. She was living as a single mother, and she wanted to migrate to the United States to provide her children with opportunities of a life that she was not able to live growing up. She traveled to the United States, filed for legal status, and began her long journey towards embracing the American culture. My grandmother made sure to adhere to the immigration laws and requirements filing for legal status for all of her children. She worked extremely hard to learn English, and she quickly found work as a schoolyard monitor at the school her children were enrolled in. My grandmother always emphasized that her children were her motivation, and getting the job at the school allowed her to be close to them and make them feel safe in their new environment. She learned to drive, got her license, and then made the incredible decision to become a citizen of the United States. I remember her telling me how long she would stay up at night reading the study material and how nervous she was because her English was not great. Despite the hardships of having children to care for, work obligations, and low funds, and a language barrier, and having to learn the history of an entirely new country, she did it. She took the citizenship test and became a citizen of the United States. In doing so, she set the example for each of her 9 children. She showed them that anything is possible with hard work and dedication in a country that provides resources and opportunities like no other. She taught them to have high expectations for themselves and to reach the goals they set. She taught them not to be afraid to dream big and to reach for the stars. This has greatly translated into my life. An obvious reason would be that if she hadn't migrated to the United States, my father and my mother would never have met, and I would cease to exist. On a deeper level, the ideals, morals, and life lessons that she taught my dad have been passed down to me. I'm lucky to have been born in this country, and I am able to experience the benefits of being a citizen of the United States every single day of my life. I have been able to pursue education. I learned the meaning of hard work. I have started my own family and became a homeowner at 27 years old. I have taken the strength and experiences of my migrant family and used them to fuel my ambition and appreciation for this country and all it has to offer. I will never take for granted the opportunities I have because ultimately I have my grandmother to thank for all of it. I know where she is from. They did not have the luxury of indoor heating and cooling. They did not have the luxury of paved roads and electricity in some cases. They did not have access to educational opportunities that I have here. Since I have the perspective of my family who immigrated from a different country, I have a different sense of appreciation for what it means to be an American citizen. Another way migration has helped to shape my life is through culture. My grandmother assimilated in the ways needed to function here in this country, like learning English. Despite having to alter her life in many ways to adhere to a country's new norms, she never lost her culture. She kept close to her heart the foods of her family, the music of her country, the familial dynamic and ideals for inside of them, the importance of never forgetting where they came from. By doing this, she showed her children that it is great to be an American, but she also taught them the importance of never forgetting where they came from. They were Mexican American, and that was truly something to be proud of. Still to this day, I love making family soup or sopa recipes for my husband and my daughter. I love dancing to Mexican cumbias while cleaning the house, and even if that means I'm 70% cleaning and 30% dancing. I love hearing the stories of my migrant family and seeing the pictures of where our family comes from. Most of all, I love being able to have the opportunity to pass all of this down to my own children for them to carry on for generations to come. All in all, I truly feel that migration has shaped the course of my life and my family's lives for the better. Without them taking that step, I would not have been able to write this essay today pursuing educational goals that will help my family's future. I truly believe that sharing the story of my migrant family can help future generations to see that we have been gifted the greatest opportunities life can offer. It is a reminder of what our lives could have been and reminds us to never take any minute of it for granted. It shows that it can be so beautiful to bring other cultures into the country to truly contribute to the melting pot that is the United States of America. Lastly, it shows others with similar backgrounds and stories that they are not alone, and it can help to build a community of support. I am the daughter and granddaughter of an immigrant. I am Mexican American, and I am proud. That is Janet Cinto's essay. All right, thank you.
Thank you so much, Teresa, for reading Janet's work. And Janet, thank you for submitting that beautiful essay to the contest. Just to remind folks that the scholarship contest that we ran, we did in conjunction with financial aid, with the financial aid office. And first place winners, the ones you just heard and saw from, won 30 credit hours of tuition, which is a full year scholarship. So it's a significant scholarship. Second place winners won, I believe it's 15 credit hours, which is a full semester. And third place winners, I believe, won 9 credits or 12 credits. But Carla Gonzalez, who's our Assistant Director of Scholarships, is here today, and she can clarify all that. But we're really excited to be able to offer this to our students, for them to participate more deeply into these issues and also get some financial support, which is always so needed. So moving along to our next segment is this is the audience participation part of the program, because it's our People's Choice Award for Visual Arts. So I'm going to bring in 3 folks who are going to help us with this. Casey Heron, who is adjunct faculty in the visual arts, art history, fitness and wellness, and she was one of our judges in the visual arts category. Carla Gonzalez, who I just mentioned, Assistant Director of Scholarships and Outreach, and Keith Bletzer, who's adjunct faculty in anthropology and was one of the judges in the creative writing category. And let me just take an opportunity to thank all of our committee members, the judges, faculty and staff who took their time to volunteer and give service to the students and to this program in order to award the students their scholarships. So would you all join us now? Casey, Carla, and Keith.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone.
Hi, Carla. How are you today?
Good, thank you.
Good, nice to see you. While the others are joining, Casey and Keith, could you clarify the amounts that the students won? Did I get that right, or did I get it wrong?
Yes, congratulations everyone for the winners and participation. And so the winners, the first place winners earned 30 credit hours of in-state tuition and fees. The second place winners earned up to 12 credit hours of in-state tuition and fees. I believe you mentioned 15, Francisca, but it's 12. And the third place winners earned up to 6 credit hours of tuition and fees. So just wanted to congratulate everyone. Lots of great essays, creative writing, and visual arts submissions were difficult for the judges. So thank you all.
Yeah, thank you for correcting me on that too.
Of course.
Still excellent awards. Thank you. Hi, Casey.
Hi there. Hi, everyone. Welcome.
And
I'll be
I see
the students for the People's Choice Awards.
Great. And I see Keith is unmuted, so maybe he's just waiting for his turn when he speaks. So go ahead.
That's correct.
Okay. Hi, Keith. Welcome.
Hi.
All right, are you guys ready?
Go for it.
All right, so our first student that we have is Nicolette Gomez, and Carla will be reading her artist statement for us.
I have a video with her statement.
Oh, okay. Great, thank you, Mike.
Hello everyone, my name is Nicolette Gomez and I am a returning student working towards my Associates of Applied Science with a focus in web design. Let me tell you a little bit about my art piece. When it comes to migration, I think of finding somewhere one can feel their heart full. We can travel the entire world to find that one place we are happy, safe, and comfortable. These butterflies in my art piece are also depictions of happiness with the way they are filled with colors of different shapes and sizes. The way I see it, the butterflies have many stages in their lives. And in migration, there are also many stages of life to go through, whether it's adjusting to your life, your friends, your school, a job. It is part of your journey. Each butterfly has its own individual struggle and path to endure, but at the end, they are all strive to be like the butterfly in the middle. The butterfly in the middle represents our heart, because after migrating, you are finally reaching your destination and your heart is full and happy. Thank you, and good luck to everyone.
All right, welcome back. Thanks, Mike, for sharing Nicolette's video with us and her artwork.
Okay, so Bailey is the next one.
Yep, we're gonna have Bailey Milbauer.
Yes, this is the one for Bailey. This is Keith speaking. And this is the writing part that was submitted with this rather unusual photo. This photo embodies the beauty in small details that surrounds us in our everyday life. Things that are usually overlooked are sometimes the most beautiful part of a room or a person. It also adds a sort of serenity to a maybe otherwise chaotic and stressful life. And this is a submission by Bailey.
Hello everyone.
Sorry about that. Okay, I also have a video for the third one for Isaiah.
You want to introduce Isaiah, Casey?
Yeah, so our third contestant is Isaiah Pina Rico. We have a video from him too. Did you hear that?
Yeah, just a second.
Yes.
The video wasn't on.
We heard that.
Yeah.
I'm Isaiah Pina Rico, a second semester Pima Community College student studying biology and Mexican American studies. This piece, called De la Frontera a Nuestros Brazos, or From the Border to Our Arms, is an embroidery done completely by hand. It depicts the ideal image of communities in Tucson, lifting up those who made the strenuous journey crossing our border. In the background we see the Catalinas, the mountains I was taught to use to discern north. I learned to pronounce Tucson by remembering that here it's so hot it feels like we have two suns, and as such the sun has a second body beside it. It also has one eye closed, which can be likened to how even God bats an eye to some of the injustices that occurred here. The red lines in the sky refer to the crimson sunset we've been gifted by older brother according to Tohono O'odham folklore, and what I regard as one of the prettiest sights in the southwest. The two little people being hoisted up into the greater linkage of arms are coming from the southeast and southwest, referring to the common points of entry past Ajo and Nogales leading to Tucson from the border. As a descendant of several migrant families who worked hard to let me have a successful life and future, I greatly strive for a future where the whole community welcomes migrants with open arms.
What a beautiful statement that was. Thanks to Isaiah. And our next participant is Alma Schlor. I think that she is here with us today. Hi, Alma.
Hi. Okay. My name is Alma Schlor, and I want to share my statement about my drawing. I created this drawing in my art class last fall. I give humanitarian aid to migrants in the desert. And when I was instructed to make a drawing based on numbers and letters, the first thought that came to my mind was the death of the migrants in the Arizona desert. I based my drawing on the 137 human remains that were found last year. That was September 2018, September 2019. These artworks represent the death of many migrants that have not been recognized. Every year, migrants cross Arizona desert and prepare for what they're going to face. Lack of water and blisters on their feet make the journey a terrible end of their lives with nobody by their side. The scene takes place in the desert by the border wall between Mexico and the United States. I use the number 7 to represent the wall. The number 8, which are many, are the footprints of the migrants that have crossed the desert and died. There are more than 137 pairs of footprints, as there are always more human remains that would never be found. The number 137 stands tall in front of the word presente, which slowly started to stand up. This is to show their deaths have been honored. The number 3 are the vultures that surrounded them, and the number 6 are the clouds witnessing their deaths. Thank you.
Thank you, Alma. That's beautiful. All right, so our next participant is Kelly Smith from Visual Arts Department.
My name is Kelly Beth Smith. I'm in my 3rd semester for an applied science degree. So this is the excerpt about the piece that I did. So as a Tucson native, I've grown up with and around immigrants and immigrant issues my whole life. It seems so simple being from here and meeting all the people and other families dealing with this struggle that it's clearly a human rights issue. After living in Baltimore and talking to so many people who have not experienced anything like this, I realized that people who have never been to a border have no common ground to relate to all of the people attempting to cross over to the American side. After being on the East Coast and seeing so many different museums and places related specifically to American immigration, I really started to think about immigration to the United States and who gets to decide who belongs here and who doesn't. In this project, I portray quick sketches of a Native American man from the Crow tribe in the Montana province in 1908, a German immigrant from Ellis Island in 1925, and a Mexican immigrant at the Nogales border in 2020. I wanted to represent a variety of people in a similar format and their origin. Hopefully other Americans will be more inclined to think about their own personal history of immigration into the United States, and at the very least, just be able to humanize the people currently trying to become American citizens. Thank you.
Thank you, Kelly. All right, we have two more participants. Mirabel Ibabote Solo Batubo. Is she here with us? I think so.
Hi.
Hi. What semester are you in and what are you studying?
So this is my second semester, going to my second semester at Pina. I'm currently a biology major but transitioning into nursing.
All right, great. Thank you so much.
So this artwork, I took this picture. I thought of painting, but this is what I preferred. And I call it the immigrants. And the fly right there represents an immigrant. So flies perch on leaves because they are attracted to carbon dioxide. And this is because leaves give out carbon dioxide. And that carbon dioxide represents greener pastures for the immigrants. Those green leaves and the water droplets on the leaves represent resources. So it appears that there are so many resources for these immigrants or DACA or refugees, but the fly still looks like an outsider, which means the immigrants still appear as the outsiders. It's still obvious that they're outsiders. Even though there are resources for them, some of these resources, when the immigrants go and look for these resources, they're not necessarily there. They're just being advertised. And also migrating is for a purpose. Most of these immigrants don't just migrate because there's war back where they're from, but they also want to have better life. So they migrate for a purpose. Thank you.
Thank you, Mirabel. All right. Our final participant is Rachel Cisco, and Carla will be reading her artist statement for us.
Hi again, everyone. I'm sharing Rachel Cisco's art submission. Her artist submission statement is as follows. America is the land of the free and the brave. Who decides who can be free? The sculpture represents the refugees and migrants from all over the world who are searching for a better life here in America. The half African, half Caucasian hands represent that America is only within reach of those who are born here. The African hands reach toward the flag, but even if they touch the flag, it is with white hands. I met a mother and son who are refugees from Sudan. Adwi, the mother, is one of the hardest working people I have ever met. Her stories are equally heartbreaking and inspiring. She currently struggles to find work because she speaks very little English and she suffers from severe rheumatoid arthritis. Meeting this woman changed my entire life. What if I was born in Sudan? Why do I get to be free and she does not? My great-grandparents came to America from Italy. Back then, every migrant was welcome. Today, they are shunned and turned away. This sculpture represents the aspiration of all migrants and refugees from the past and the present. Thank you. That was a submission from Rachel Cisco.
Thank you, Carla, for reading that entry. And thank you, Casey, for introducing the students and Keith for participating as well. That's all prelude to our People's Choice Award, because this is where now all of you who are attending and also the panelists can join in and vote on who will receive the People's Choice Award. As you know already, we had first, second, and third place winners in the category of visual arts, but we created this fourth category for all the remaining submissions, all the other students who submitted to visual arts who did not get the first, second, or third, but we wanted for the audience to sort of participate in this more, definitely more visual aspect of the contest and have your input, give your 2 cents on what you thought might be the great sort of fourth place winners, so to speak, or what we're calling the People's Choice Award. So I think before we run the poll, we'll run the images one more time through. I don't know, can you do that, Mike, or do you want me to do that? And as we run the images, notice the number on the image that you like the best. Because when you get the poll, you're going to vote according to the number on the image, okay? So pay attention to the numbers and the one that you want the best. So we'll run through them one more time just for you to see them.
Yeah, I could run through them. I took the statements off, so I'm just going to run through the pictures.
Yeah, just the images. And they have, yours have numbers, right?
Yes.
Okay, great.
The numbers are on the title of the picture.
Okay.
Okay. Takes me a second.
Sure. So get your pens and pencils out, or make sure to make mental note. Starting with, yeah. So here's number 1, the one by Nicolette Gomez. Number 2 by Bailey Milbauer. Number 3 by Isaiah Pina Rico. Number 4 by Alma Rosa Schlor. Number 5 by Kelly Beth Smith. And number 6 by Maribel Ibibote Solo Batubo. Number 7 is no longer eligible for a very good reason, because Rachel Cisco got another scholarship. What is the name of it, Carla? The Chancellor's Sophomore Scholarship, something like that. Anyway, she got a scholarship. It's a full ride for a year. And she can only, according to financial aid rules, accept one of them. So she's no longer in the running, but we wanted to present her artwork to you anyway, just so that you could see that submission, because it, like all the rest, represent the creativity, the intellect, the dedication of our students, and we're very proud of them. Okay, so let me see. Are you going to run through it one more time, Mike?
Yeah.
Okay. And no numbers, this number 7 is not on the poll, okay? You'll have number 1 through 6 to choose from. So let me see if I can launch this. Launching the poll right now. It should be in front of you all, is it?
Yes.
Okay, so everybody go ahead and vote. What is your favorite? Vote for the artwork you think best represents the themes of the EGTS Summit of Immigration, Refugees, and Human Mobility, according to the prompt provided to students, which we read at the beginning of the event. Choose one only. I think you can only choose one only. We only have 3, 6, 7, 8, 9 votes, and we have 31 participants right now. We had over 40 at one point.
Just so you know, it's saying panelists cannot vote.
Oh, darn, really? Shoot. I thought panelists could vote. Darn it. Mike, do you know of a way for panelists to vote?
Have them vote on the chat line and then we'll count them up.
Okay, thank you. We've got a fix. Vote on the chat line. Of course, it's not anonymous there, but I don't think that matters much. And we'll count them up. So we won't get an automatic count right now, but we will let you know who wins. We do have 14 people as attendees, and you can vote. And so far, 7, 10 have voted. So there are 4 more people. I'll give you another few seconds. Please go ahead and vote. Give our students a 10 of 14, 71%. I guess there's always that percentage who don't vote. Maybe they walked away or something. Okay.
They should still be up there. They're registered. They're still on.
They're still on, I know. They're on the webinar. Okay, so I'm going to end the poll in about 5 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, I'm going to end the poll. I'm going to share the results so that you can see at least what the initial voting was. Can you see that, Mike?
Yes.
And in the red is the leading one by 1 vote. Number 1, Nicolette Gomez's butterfly painting is in the lead. Number 3, Isaiah's work, his embroidery work is number 2 with 3 votes. And then the rest of the votes are split among Alma, Kelly Beth, and Mirabel. So we will get a recording of the votes on the chat, and we'll tally those up, and we will send out the results later today or tomorrow. Okay? And so that's pretty much our event for today. Thank you, everybody, for those of you who are here till the end. Michael, are you still here? Would you like to close this up with me? I don't know if
I am indeed.
Oh, excellent. You want to come back in?
Sure.
What did you think?
I thought it was great. I thought it was a wonderful way to spend the afternoon. It's a delight to see everyone's artwork, to hear the writing that they've composed, and to see so many people engaged with these very important issues.
I agree. And also how beautifully the students express themselves in such different modalities and different ways, from creative writing to essay writing to various different types of visual arts, you know. I'm just, it's very inspiring to me while I was putting the event together and working with the artwork and the texts and all of that and reading all of them. It's very inspiring to me as a faculty member, as a teacher, as a scholar, to know that we have this new generations coming up, right? And who are very passionate and very socially minded and so concerned about the world and concerned about others and feel themselves connected. And I guess that's my ultimate message to people in this event and in every event, is to know that we as faculty see this all the time in our students. And even though the world is going through such a hard time right now, and it can be very depressing and very pessimistic looking, for me personally, to see the youth out in the streets, even though I'm extremely concerned for their health because of our pandemic, it's also incredibly inspiring to see the youth taking matters into their own hands and letting the world know that they want a better world and they're going to work and fight for it. And we as a college, I feel, are here for you, for them, to help them with that process. So anyway, Michael, it's wonderful to collaborate with you, to work with you in the department, and to, serve our students.
Absolutely. And you're the real impresario, organizing these things. So I tip my hat to you, and I tip my hat to all of these students who submitted this wonderful work and provided me with a very enjoyable afternoon. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And thank you for your support, because without it, we couldn't do any of this. So thank you so much.
Quite welcome.
We'll be seeing you all another day. Keep us in mind for the fall lecture and next year's summit, and take some classes with us. Bye, everybody.
Have a restful summer, all.
Yeah. Bye, Michael.
Bye.